Hi there, and hello everybody, and welcome to Love City Live. So glad to have you watching and listening another week. This week we're joined by the incomparable, talented, and technological Chris Sinanan. I hope I pronounced that right. Creator of the Canoe app.
You
I
did.
found out about this guy through my cousin Gene, who was sending me over awesome Instagram resources, and then ended up in a Facebook comment section. I said, this
Yeah.
guy looks familiar. We seem aligned in our calling and vision. So I'm so happy to have you on the episode today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. So tell me, how did we get
Cheers.
here? Tell me about this app. Like, what's it all about? Who is it for?
I've been playing music since I was about 14 years old, and I've been in high school bands and took that passion on into college, where I got my BA in production and engineering. And basically, what this app is for the independent entrepreneur that's a creative, trying to express themselves through their art and kind of publish what they can do to the world around them. As an engineer and producer, I've always had situations where, missed connections with other collaborators kind of went missed, people who were as close as up the block from me. And I wanted to create something that kind of utilized the technology that we have available to us, similar to things like Yelp and Uber and all these things that are geographically based, and give the power to those people who create a way to kind of publicize their skill sets to the world around them, so that they can be exposed and really just kind of connect with all the potential people that they can.
I love the idea of connection and bringing people together and, just bridging the gap. And you're right. Like, sometimes people live a block away and they're longing for creative connection and they don't even know how to find
Absolutely.
their tribe. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah,
So
it's a sad thing that we go through all the time.
it really can be. I remember when I first moved to New York City, I would sit at in the bedroom in Bed-Stuy and just be like, I don't know anybody. Where are my people? Like, how do I connect with
Hmm.
other
Yeah.
singers and other dancers and people like that? So this is a
Hmm.
wonderful opportunity. When someone signs on to your app, what can they expect?
Well, the first thing that they're going to see is basically a sign-in screen, very similar to any other app that you would have to register to. During the sign-up process, you're going to be faced with about 4 different screens. The first screen of which is just for you to create a username, identify your name, your phone number, and your address, which is very important to the app. As it is a geographically based app, it does basically locate you based off of whatever address you register. This feature is something that can be hidden, so it's not something that has to be like, your anonymity is available to everybody and kind of taken away. But that's something you could change in settings. But the most important feature of the app is when you go to the next page, is basically we ask you 4 key questions, and those questions are: what do you do? Which would be prone to the things of, like, I'm a producer, I'm an engineer, I'm a photographer, graphic designer. Then the other, it was on the second screen, and it's the third question, which is what do you use, which is a place for where you would put information like the type of gear that you use, programs that you operate, of things of that nature. And then the one that I find to be most important is what do you want? Which is basically the type of, what do you want to use the app for? Are you trying to find musicians? Are you trying to engineer projects? Are you trying to do photo shoots? Are you trying to direct film? You know what I mean? So it's just, and all this information is entered by hashtag, which develops our search base, so that basically you contribute the terms that eventually create the database for Canoe. And then once you're within the app, the next page is just a simple mission statement and photo page, terms and conditions, and then you're engaged within the community. From there, you basically, those tags that you entered during those questions are how people search for you and the things that people would typically look for to find you as a creator.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Have you had any success stories come out of people on the app so far?
Yeah, actually, it's funny. I created a promotional video recently, and actually, the three creators that helped me make that video actually I were people I found within the app, which was really awesome to find. And you know, I was able to locate them and just tell them what I was trying to do, and they I was able to send out the information to them. And then I've had little bits and pieces. The thing is, you know, this app is really special when it's given the opportunity to have a really large client base. And the more people that we have engaged in the app, more people, users we have, the more useful it starts to become. So I've had a couple people that said that they were able to find a producer or an engineer, but mostly, you know, we're still trying to build that user base.
Yeah, that's exciting. And that's the reason why we're here today, because I wanted to introduce all of the Love City arts community to your app and what you're trying to do, because as you're saying, it thrives on input. So the more people that are actually in the
Yeah.
space, the more chance for cross pollination of arts,
Mm-hmm.
artsy types of
Yes,
people.
absolutely.
It's exciting. Let's
Mm-hmm.
back up about, well, I don't want to
Yes.
date you, but let's back up probably
Mm-hmm.
like 15, 20 years. Like, tell me about
Mm-hmm.
baby Chris or younger Chris as an artist. What was that guy like?
Well, it's funny. You know, I'm of my father is from Trinidad and Tobago. He's an immigrant from that country, and then my mom is a Puerto Rican woman who grew up in Brooklyn, New York. They met here, and from that background, I was always kind of culturally off place a little bit. You know, my parents, their relationship didn't work out, so I grew up with my mother's side of the family, who is Puerto Rican and speaks Spanish. But because I didn't speak Spanish, there was a big cultural divide for me,
Wow.
as far as connecting to the music and the culture. Whereas my dad, you know, is Trinidadian, but when they separated, I didn't grow up with the Trinidadian side, so there's also a huge cultural disconnection to that side of me as well. So what ended up happening was, you know, I kind of found a sense of peace in like rock music. I started playing guitar when I was about 14, listening to Linkin Park. I was a huge fan, and became crazy inspired by their first album, Hybrid Theory. And from that point, it kind of inspired me to go into all these different directions. And met my some of my closest friends. My best friend, who is still with me today. We have a band today called Everdream. We started a band called Paranoid Echoes, and then got molded into another rock band that was playing at our high school called Opsel, where we played with two other people, my boy Joe and my boy Ingu. And from there, you know, the passion just continued. We played music, we played shows, and I ended up going into Bloomfield College in New Jersey, where I went in as a liberal arts major because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but ended up finding that they had a pretty great music program there, and I became a part of that, and that's what I ended up graduating with. And then from my time at that school, you know, the school itself was a huge creative cul-de-sac of all these different creatives, and it kind of laid the foundation for the idea of the app, where you kind of had this environment where all these different types of creators were all intermingling and connecting in one building and contributing to each other's projects. And I realized that that's a really awesome power to have when you have that type of access.
Yeah, that's really amazing. I love that School of Music feel, that Fame school kind of
Yeah,
feel, like, and where I
I
went to
miss
school.
that.
It's we're gonna find out a way. Once we call all of these artists into your app and get them onboarded and get them connected, they'll be of the right energy. They'll be the right kind of people. We have to start creating these opportunities to have artsy people in a room together, kind of vibing and
Right.
creating and feeling that camaraderie that, you know, my one of my best friends, Brian, and I always talk about how spoiled we were in our music programs, because you get pushed out into the real world, and there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it out here where the Muggles play. You know, that's
Yeah.
very
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah, but we're gonna bring it back.
I thrive on connection and collaboration. You know what I mean? You, even at times when you may feel in a creative funk, you being in the environment of other creatives keeps you inspired and keeps you wanting to continue to create and contribute to the creative culture of your environment. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I think that that is something that is so crucial to just the lifeblood of the creative communities around us, you know?
Absolutely, without a doubt, without a doubt. And speaking of which, having creative
Yeah.
community also helps you. We all have those moments as creatives. I don't think any of us are untouched by this, where we get stuck. We are creating and we're creating. Maybe it's not taking off as fast as we wanted to. Maybe you're in a situation where you really, really hit like a highlight and a peak of your creative and collaborative experience, but then things have kind of died off. It's important to have that community in moments when you get stuck. How do you get yourself unstuck when you're in a creative funk?
It's a really good question. It happens in a lot of different ways. I play my guitar almost every day, and the the blockages really come undone when I'm going through a moment of in surprisingly in self-doubt. I found that the times in my life when I've had the most complication or the most questions about my art is the times where I feel most inspired or I get the most out of myself somehow.
Hmm.
um I work with a lot of really great people. My boy Eugene Jenkins, who's my partner in Everdream, is an amazing producer, and he always sends me tracks, and that's kind of how we built the foundation of our band. Of just sending files across because he lives in Jersey, I live in New York, and you know, it's really the contribution of the people that I'm around, the ongoing notion that I feel I have a responsibility to not just push along the creative community that I'm part of as a whole, but also my little network of people. I consider myself to be an equal member of everybody that I work with, and a lot
Absolutely.
of times we pick each other up, and when one of us are feeling kind of doubtful or insecure about what we're doing, we always have someone that kind of lifts us back and kind of puts us back on the path. So it really just comes down to a great support system that I've developed over the years.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I want to put a pin in. Yes, come on, Ka. Come on in the
Yeah,
room, Ka. That was
you
that
heard him.
that
Yeah,
code
right.
was car signing and co-signing your
Hmm.
words. Um,
Co-signing.
yes,
Yeah, exactly.
it's important that when we're in those moments of self-doubt and insecurity, that we intentionally create spaces. It sounds like that you didn't just let this happen by accident. This is something that you created on
No.
purpose by design.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about where that comes from?
Absolutely. It just seemed to be like a hole that was missing in the creative community. Like I saw it as, technology has pushed us so far already. You know what I mean? Like you have things like Yelp, you have technologies that are so mapped around this geographically based system. And none of them, and then on the flip side, you have programs and apps that focus on creative connection, like Fiverr. Fiverr is an amazing app. Upwork is another amazing app.
Yes.
Those two companies right there are, things that, so benefit the creative community. But the one thing that they always never seem to focus on is the idea of community building. Like, yeah, it's great that I could send a project or something out to someone across the world and have that accessibility, but creation is a collaborative art and is something that is really felt more personally when you work with somebody, when you are in some type of close quarters to them, where you can actually bounce ideas off of them rather than sending it out into the ghost of the internet and hoping that eventually what they send you back is something you like.
Right.
So what I wanted to do was create something that kind of combined the technologies that we have and this idea of creative community building, and bring it all into one place where now you have the access to see, oh wow, in my neighborhood that I'm very familiar with, I have this person that does this, I have this person that does that. On my way from work, this is the route I take home from work. Hey, there's this guy that lives on my way home. you know so I think that was a really crucial missing part of the puzzle, that makes it so much more versatile and useful for the world around us, you know?
Yeah, that's really freaking fantastic. And I can already
Yeah.
think of so many artists in mind that would love this app and have this app. And so that's why I'm so glad that we're here. Are there any other things that you're
Yeah.
working on currently that you want to highlight?
Well, with the app, that's always consistently something that I'm doing. I'm always reaching out to people, going on pages. I use the groups that you found me on. I'm always on those, looking at people's stories and posts about, looking for this person that does that, looking for a musician to play the show with me. And I'm always, I think you liked one of them today, where I just said, hey, download this app. You may be able to find. And yeah, as me creating this, there's a business aspect to it. There's a purpose of trying to make it grow and make it something significant. But at the end of the day, what I really want to do is give people options. You know what I mean? I want to show them,
Hmm.
yeah, this is something that is trying to build, but who knows what you can find on it? You know what I mean? Who knows what type of help it could lend you, the missing piece of the puzzle that you can find using this. You know what I mean? So just
Yeah,
give it a shot.
absolutely, absolutely.
Um, and then on the side, I'm always writing music, because that's, with all the things that I do, music really serves as a therapy for me these days, and it gives me an outlet to write something and to express something in a different way. So I'm working on a full album with my partner Eugene, for Everdream, to release hopefully next spring. We already have about 12 songs mapped out, and we're currently working on that
That's
right
awesome.
now.
Awesome.
So look out for that.
So cool. Always going, always moving, always
Yeah,
shaking. I'm down. I'm down.
absolutely.
Um,
Yep,
clearly you had this idea in your heart, you had this idea in your mind, and you said, you know what? I
yeah,
actually want to manifest this and materialize this and have this in people's phones. By the way, it's on iOS and Android. It's in all the spaces.
yep,
Okay, awesome.
absolutely.
Awesome.
Worldwide.
Worldwide. And so like you literally decided that you wanted to do this, and I'm sure there were
Yeah,
gremlins and words of doubt that would come up for you as
yeah.
you step through this process. What would you say to the artist that is listening and watching today, that is sitting on a dream and they're just not sure how it can come to pass? What would you say to them?
I am a person who, if anybody who knows me knows how I work, I'm not a person that sits still for a long period of time. I always doing something. I tend to overload myself with work, and it's not because I like the stress of it. It's because it's truly sometimes a calling for me, a passion to try to manifest something bigger than myself. And I think that for any creative who's trying to create anything, whether it's their first film, their a book of their photography, you know what I mean? Any type of creative, a first album. I think that the first thing you have to get past is just your procrastination and the doubts in what it is that you can actually achieve. You know, the people, the artists in the world that have, created masterpieces and have excelled in their craft are those who took a chance. You know what I mean? Took a chance on them and believed in what they do and didn't let anybody stop them. So I feel that, if I have something that I feel is really strong and really can be real, I think that, I owe it to myself to just do everything I can to bring that to fruition.
That's awesome. That's so amazing. So
Yeah.
good. How does love show up
Yeah.
in your artistry and in your projects?
I'm very blessed. I'm a very blessed man. I've grown up with very strong women in my life. I'm very, very, very close to my mother. We have a very amazing relationship. You heard my mother-in-law a little while ago. That's another woman who I have utmost respect for and
She
love
was singing.
unconditionally.
She was. I said, "Come on
She
in
was
the
singing and
room."
stuff like that.
I love it. The joy of it. I love
There
it.
you go. And I have my amazing wife, who is like my biggest supporter and encourages me every day to continue doing what I'm doing, no matter how it affects us, or no matter what obstacles we've gone through to get where we are today. She's been nothing but supportive and believes in everything I can do. And I have a daughter, a 3-year-old daughter named Sage, who is really like my little inspiration to keep going.
That's amazing.
And without the love and support of them, and having them in my life to rally me on, tell me to keep going, believing in me, and never ever discouraging me, you know what I mean, never saying this is a bad idea, or you shouldn't do it. It's always been, Chris, if you believe it, go for it.
Wow.
And I think just the fact of having that family foundation and having that type of love and support from them has made it all possible, for sure.
That's amazing. It sounds like you really take the gift of community seriously, and you're allowing that to fill your tank, and then it spills out into the communities that you're serving and also creating yourself. It's like this big, circular
Yeah,
movement
big
of,
cycle.
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
wonderful. Where can people find you on the web?
Yeah. On the web, you can find me on Instagram. That's where I do a lot of my communication with the outside world. So for Canoe, it's creatives near you, just you spelled out. Not you spelled out, just the letter U, excuse me. My production page is SNMX Productions _productions. Those are the two main facets of where I communicate with the outside world. You can also find me on Facebook. Just type in Canoe. My page is there, and I'm always responding to messages and feedback on there as well. And you could also go to our website, creativesnearyou.com, and subscribe to our mailing list. And I'm constantly talking to people on that as well.
Cool. And we're going to make sure that we connect all of our community with your community in the show notes and beyond. I've also got some partnership opportunities that I'll talk to you after we get off the air about. But this is exciting. This is exciting to find other lights who are committed to building community. One of the Love City Arts hashtags is community over competition. And so what I love
Mm-hmm.
about your energy, and the reason why we're here, is that there's not I don't get a competitive vibe from you. I get like how can
Yeah.
we combine our love force to be agents
Yeah.
of change on the planet and agents of love on the planet. So I just want to thank you so much for being here today and talking with
Thank you
us.
so much. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course.
Yeah,
I always
absolutely.
end every podcast, Love City Arts television show with 3 fill in the blanks. So here we go. The first one is love is.
Love is everything.
Love is everything.
No, love it. Love is everything you could ever want and ever need in that situation. Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. Joy
Yeah.
is.
Oh, joy. Ah, joy is enriching.
Mm.
It's enriching to the soul. It's enriching to the heart. It's enriching to the mind, for sure.
Yes. And the last one
Yeah.
is freedom is.
Freedom is needed.
Yes.
Freedom is needed, and sadly in this world, in short supply, which is sad right now.
Yeah, it is in short supply. But what I love.
Sorry to end it on a bad note like that, but
Oh, but you
that's how I
must not.
felt.
We just met recently. You don't know. I will find a way out of
Yeah.
no way. I will. Freedom is in short supply, and it appears that it's in short supply because of the negativity and the voices that are loud. What I love is
Yeah,
that you and I are not.
absolutely.
We're not put off by that. I don't give a damn that you people are
Yeah.
on some negative kick, or that people think that there's more negativity in the world than positivity. My response is what I'm responsible for. And it sounds like, instead of you saying, wow,
Exactly.
there's a lack of freedom, there's a lack of love, there's a lack of patience, there's a lack of empathy, there's a lack of compassion, instead of just dwelling there, you're like, oh no, I'm going to put time, resource, energy, blood, sweat, and tears behind creating an app and a platform that connects people. And I'm going to go into these spaces. I
Yes.
found you in the comment section. So it's like you didn't
Mm-hmm.
say freedom is lacking. Oh, well, you said freedom is lacking.
Yeah.
Let me call someone in. And
Yeah.
that's going to be, I feel, stump speech. That's what I feel is going to change the world. It's going to change the
Absolutely.
fucking world. For us lights
Absolutely.
to get together on a Saturday afternoon via the web and talk about the
Hmm.
things we're creating, the energy that we're creating it in, and calling all like-minded individuals closer. Come on in, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. It's warm in here.
There you go.
Yeah. So
Absolutely. I mean, and that's kind of really what I respect about what you're doing, man. Because you know, when we had our first conversation, you know, what I loved about your energy was that you seemed so positive and you seem so engaged to try to push the world in a positive direction. And I think that that's refreshing, you know, in the type of world that we live in, because it's so easy to get sucked into the bubble of darkness. You know, I mean, the news, all this politics and everything, but it makes the reason why people like us are so needed, because you know
yeah.
the creative community, the culture, the love of the world is what's going to heal everything, and that's what we need to push, you know, completely more.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have this like sneaky suspicion, and that love is going to win in the end. And when it does win, and I say "I told you
I
so" to
believe.
all of the haters, um, because you know
Hmm.
I'm gonna relish in that moment of like, "I told you love was going to win." When we have that moment, I want us to be
Uh-huh.
standing shoulder to shoulder. You brother, and you sister that's listening, and brother and sisters that are listening. I want us all to just stand in the light and just take that in, take it in that we were
Yeah.
told so many lies and felt and fed so much garbage, and yet at the end of the
Mhm.
day, we got our shit together. We stopped fighting
Yeah.
on the side of love. We actually showed up for each other. We actually, support each other.
Yeah.
If I wanted to be super black today, which I'm super black every day, I would talk about Asada Shakur and the fact that in her chant she says,
Mm.
"It is our duty to fight for our freedom."
Rest in peace.
No,
Right.
I don't think she's dead. Hold on.
This is. Oh, oh no! I thought didn't say, I saw like a article saying that she died. Was that fake news? I hope it
That's fake
was.
news. Everybody wants her to die. Well, not
Oh,
everybody.
dude,
Let me stop.
I'm so glad. No, I'm so glad.
We
I
just
saw that and I was like super sad. I was like, oh no.
no. She dies on the internet like
Thank you for telling me otherwise.
no. She dies on the internet like every other week. Toni Morrison, who's another freedom
Oh
fighter
my
we
god.
lost recently, but
Hmm.
yeah, no, that's fake
Yes,
news.
yes.
I hope. Oh Lord, I hope she's
Okay.
still alive. But her chant,
Yeah, I hope so too. I'm glad.
her very much alive chant is, "It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We
Uh,
must love and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains." And I live from that place
mm,
because, like,
right,
what other reasonable service is there? So, anyway, thank you so much
right.
for being here. Thank you for taking the time out of
Thank
your
you, man.
Saturday afternoon to hang out with us. I cannot wait to promote, and get your apps in the hands of so many artists and creatives that I know are longing for this type of community. So, is there anything that you want to leave
Thank you.
the viewers and listeners with today? What's the good word?
The good word is rebuild and show love to the creative community around you. The whole reason of why I do this is because I see that there's just such a extreme disconnect of us around the world, and we all need each other, and we all thrive when we are put together. So even if you're a person out there that's just doesn't feel like this is something that could benefit you, everybody knows a person that is in some way a creative, and a creative is a very broad statement. So if you know somebody that you feel is struggling to connect to people, that needs a little bit of help, give this to them. Tell them about it. Let them know what we're trying to do.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Chris Sinanan of Canoe
Thank you
App.
so much.
Love is the greatest power there ever is.
Absolutely.